And this is Kulikcha of the Czech Republic, European silver medalist in the European Championships of 2016. The Latvian, Pajos Hujats, the 25-year-old from Latvia. Then we have the world champion from 2015. It's Shaughnessy Barber of Canada, 22-year-old. 591 in 2016. And then the crowd will roar as we introduce Diogo Braz da Silva of Brazil, the 22-year-old with a best of 592 in 2016. 3 more to go as the drummers keep drumming. We have Daichi Sawano of Japan, the oldest man in the competition in this. Oh, sorry, Sam Kendricks of the United States. And last but not least is Piotr Lisek of Poland, the 23 who's cleared 5 meters 70 in the qualifying round, and that's his season's best.
So the men are preparing to emerge for the first of 5 heats in the the men's 110 high hurdles. It's been a long few days. So Omar McLeod will start on the far side in lane 2. And I wonder whether he is just 3 races away from becoming the Olympic champion. 12.97 is PB, 12.98 this season. They are just emerging and will take centre stage very shortly.
All right, the pole vaulters now getting ready to go, and it looks like that Le Villeneuve is going to be missing out on the first 2 heights, along with Da Silva of Brazil. And now we have Zanita Glank of Poland in the circle for her first throw. Just about getting over that 55-meter line, heavily strapped on that right shoulder, you can see. So seems to fall away to the centre of the circle. Glank is the best of 58.75 in 2016. Personal best of 65.34, but that was set in previous years. So Glank is 4th currently with 55.27. So next into the circle will be Natalia Stratulat of Moldova. She's the Moldovan record holder. She's been missing from action for a little while, but she's back for this. Got a best of 61.85 in 2016. Again, that fixed feet style, but not so fixed as it sort of comes back and she loses her balance and control, and that's another no throw. So the girls in the discus just experiencing some difficulties in judging the speed of the circle and also just getting used to the wind, which is swirling around a little bit in the centre of the arena.
So our track action commences this evening with the heats of the men's 110 hurdles. No Aries Merritt here in Rio. He's done brilliantly to bounce back to full health after that kidney transplant. Just missed a place here by a single 100th of a second. Beaten to 3rd place in the trials by Jeff Porter, who starts in lane 7. But the man at the centre of the attention for this heat 1 is Omar McLeod. Victories in Doha, Shanghai and Eugene, but 2 falls in his most recent races coming here to Rio. Flat speed is absolutely superb, 9.99 this season. I think he had a fairly fat legal win behind him, but still sub 10 seconds. So he's got everything. Crisp technique, raw speed, and now just needs to compose himself make absolutely certain he's in the semi-finals. A little bit of surface water still on the track as the rain just begins to come down again. It's very fine rain, so the weather conditions changing this evening. Jeff Porter, semi-finals 4 years ago, third in the trials, married to Tiffany Porter, who'll be representing Great Britain in the women's 100-metre hurdle. So McLeod in 2, Ali of Madagascar in 3, Rivas of Colombia 4, John of Germany in 5, Yazawa of Japan in 6, then Jeff Porter there. On his right-hand side, Antoine Hicks, former American, now representing Nigeria, and Julius Julimus will be nearest the camera in lane 9, representing Haiti. So it's fairly generous qualification here, 4 plus 4, so the fastest 4 in each of the 5 heats, plus 4 fastest losers overall. McLeod will view this as a simple stretch of the legs, but he's got to get over those barriers. This is the first instalment on his route to Olympic glory, as he hopes. So McLeod very quickly away. Miles clear at the moment. The German John is going well, and so too Jeff Porter towards the near side, although he's clattered 1 or 2 barriers, the American. McLeod 13.28, Jeff Porter in second, and I think Jeffrey Julius, nearest the camera in 9, ran well. McLeod has been rounded down to 13.27. And a real shame there for Alexander John, limping across the line after going well in the early stages. Well, he was barely out of breath there, Omar McLeod. There are bigger challenges to come as the rain falls, but opening salvo, job done.
And very comprehensively done too. Let's keep an eye on the man in the middle of your picture. He was going well at the time, Alexander John, and then he's crashed into one there and completely lost his stride pattern, and then couldn't get it back in time to get over the hurdle. So hopefully he's not too injured, but McLeod, with the bit between his teeth early, able to come away and win comfortably by 0.23 of a second. Just a little stretch of the legs, as Rob said, and 0.23 of a second his margin of victory over Jeff Porter, who loomed up in the middle stages, and he'll be pleased enough with his second. Julmus has also qualified in 13.66, and Antoine Hicks officially in 13.70. Season's best for Kame Ali of Madagascar, who finished back in last place, last of the men to finish. He's obviously pulled up with some sort of hip affliction here in Alexander John, so we hope that is not too serious, but just what you'd expect from Omar McLeod in the first of the heats of the hurdles.
So the defending Olympic champion moves into the circle for her first round throw. The rain is coming down. It's got not good conditions. Oh, and into the net. So the defending Olympic champion on a first round throw puts it into the net. That's a no throw. 70-88 this year. You can see he splits the circle, but the feet on that wet surface of the circle is just proving to be a little bit difficult for these discus throwers to change what they have to do. Just either slow it down or just make sure they got the right shoes on. The ones that are a little bit slower, they have different thickness of rubber on those shoes and different makes of consistency of rubber. You can see how much it is raining now. So it is, I would say, becoming not torrential, but I tell you what, it's getting towards that way, and this becomes very difficult for the pole vaulters. We'll have to have a cessation of action on the pole vault, because there's no way that you can run up with a pole in your hand and stick it in a small box and go upside down in the air over 17 feet, or over 5 meters 50 is the case here, the opening height of the vault, without some degree of danger.
And if I just may make a point that might be relevant later on, just watching Omar McLeod going through his paces, the rain is absolutely pouring down, and there's one thing we know about David Rudisha: he does not like racing in the rain. That's why he was beaten in Stockholm earlier this year. Confirmation, Omar McLeod barely out of breath in that first heat of the hurdles. Jeff Porter second, Julius and Hicks will be there. Rivas, well, he'll have to wait and see. 13.84. I'm not sure that's going to be fast enough to go through as one of the quickest losers.
So at present we're in a bit of suspended animation as far as the field events are concerned. The runners are about to head out for the third of the heats of the men's 110 metres hurdles. Runners have already made their way up to the blocks and are coming out, so the conditions not easy for the hurdlers as well.
So this is the Lithuanian Sendriut, Sineda Sendriut of Lithuania. And that's another netted throw. So the last three throwers to go into the circle have all put it into that right hand. They're right-handed, and they've put it into that right-hand side of the net. Not surprising, because when you get to the centre, you have to turn very quickly on that right foot if you're right-handed. And if you can't move it at the speed, or you're not comfortable or confident that it's going to strike as quickly as you should, you block on that left foot. That left foot then blocks the hip and it shoots out to the right. And in this case, with the opening as it is, it will go straight into the net. So you have to make adjustments. Now, as part of practice routines, when I was coaching the throwers, we trained in this weather, because you never know when it's going to happen to you. So if there's snow on the runway or snow in the circle, you get out and you do it. Well, she's compensated, but too much, so it's gone out the sector. So this is, it's a formula that you have to come up with. So Chen Yan of the People's Republic of China, she gets another throw, but out the sector. She compensated to miss going into the net. It's gone too far and tugged and pulled it out of the left-hand side of the sector. Now, it wouldn't have been a bad throw. But we do need some covers here, because you can see it bouncing off the surface. And of course, this Mondo surface is non-porous, and the drainage means it has to get away. And we'll see if the drainage system is effective tonight.
It is hammering down now. Looking at the track, there are pools starting to form on the track. And these are the worst conditions that we've had in these Olympic Games so far. It's difficult for everyone out there.
So next into the circle will be the Australian Danny Samuels. Now, I'm not so sure she's going to be too used to throwing in really wet conditions like this, having come from the sunnier climes of Australia.
Well, it does rain down there every now and then.
She was the first Australian to win a global title in a throwing event in Berlin in 2009. So she has some pedigree. Well, you can see again the discus coming out of her hand and going straight into the net. No throw.
Tough for the discus throwers, tough for the hurdlers. They're about to find out how tough. Second heat of the men's 110 metres hurdles. A man to watch here is the man out in lane 8, Orlando Ortega, now of Spain, formerly of Cuba. He was 6th in the London final. There is Balázs Bajai of Hungary, the 27-year-old. His personal best 13.28. He's got a silver at the European Championships, and he set the Hungarian records in both the heat and the semi-final. The exotically named Deuce Carter from Jamaica, 25 years of age, second in the Jamaican trials, trying to see down to the end of the track, and there is the man that should get through, but you never know in these conditions. Orlando Ortega, 25 years of age. He was reportedly banned by Cuba for disciplinary reasons going back in 2013, and he said, righto, I'm off, and went across to Spain, and now he's wearing the red and yellow of España. So here we go in really tough conditions. Second of the heats of the men's 110 hurdles. Ortega going out of lane 8. Off they go. Ortega took a little while to stand up. Bajai got the better of the start. Stumbling in the middle of the field was Trajovic. Now it's Ortega starting to get his momentum going. Very tough conditions. Runners slipping here. Ortega beats Bajai, and the time is 13.33, but it just appeared as though a couple of the runners were really having some issues in holding their feet and just measuring their stride to the hurdles, including the Jamaican in Carter. And it is not easy for anyone out there, but the good thing is that the man who is highly credentialed in Orlando Ortega has got through 13.32, Balaspargi 13.52, and there are two other qualifiers. Trajkovic, who had a bit of a stumble mid-race, did well to recover, 13.59. Here's the replay. Trajkovic is fourth from the right, and he clipped it with his trailing leg there, so he's done a really good job to recover.
Real shame for the Jamaican. And once he clipped that third barrier, he just gave up. He's absolutely devastated. There are large pools of water forming on the track, and I wonder whether we are not far away from having a suspension in the hurdles. It is absolutely hammering down with rain here.
And I think the field events have already been suspended.
Yep, they've called the pole vaulters were running off. They don't like the rain. They ran off back into the confines of the stadium underneath the seats, and the discus throwers now, as I look across the track, are scuttling off to the sanctuary of the underneath part of the stadium.
And that's not going to make Dukes Carter feel any better if they do suspend things now, because look at him, he was down almost on his nose, and then he's just collected hurdle after hurdle. But impressed with Milan Trajkovic of Cyprus. He really clattered the second flight with his trailing leg, and to be able to recover your composure in these conditions is no small feat. So well done to him, and there's a very good view of what Carter was facing, not only hitting his own hurdles, but he was hitting other people's hurdles as well.
Well, it was a miracle he didn't actually fall there, but desperate disappointment for the Jamaican. His dream is over for this time.
13.32 for Ortega from Bargi. Trajkovic and Cabral gets the automatic qualifying spot, and Portilla of Cuba in 13.81 will have to rely on times. No sign of the athletes leaving the call room yet. There is confirmation that the vertical jumps have been delayed due to the weather. The rain is not easing off much in intensity, but the problem at the moment is surface water. There is so much of it on both the track and in the field areas where the athletes are.
Well, the only time I can ever remember is Le Villani still looks fairly calm and relaxed. He's now in the warm and the dry. The only time I can remember seeing more rain than this, or as much rain as this, was in Helsinki at the World Championships in 2005, when there was about 1.5 inches on the inside lane all the way around the track, and they ended up having to postpone even the track athletics for about 1.5 hours. It is absolutely bucketing down here to the point where it's getting dangerous for the athletes.
They did have some issues on the last day of competition at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2014. Not quite as serious as this, but it did rain quite heavily there, and that was when Matthew Hudson-Smith came and won that epic gold medal for England at the last gasp over the Bahamas. But nothing much doing. We have been delayed, so we are in a state of suspended animation at the track due to Rio's weather. We came here this morning and we were applying the factor 30 sunscreen up here in the commentary box because it was blazing sun, and we were remarking as we were going back to the train to head into Rio Central and into the heart of the city how hot it was. And then we arrived here tonight. The first thing we noticed was the wind, and then of course a bit of precipitation. Well, it was more than a bit, a whole lot of it.
Well, just watching the pole vaulters, they're resigned to this. You know, they're used to actually hanging around between the temps anyway, and this man, he would be used to waiting until his opening height. So waiting around isn't an issue. They'll have to have time to warm up again.
Well, there we go. Live pictures now, but no live action because it's bucketing down in the Rio Stadium. Pictures there of Renaud Lavillenie, the world champion men's pole vaulter, world record holder. That program was suspended. All the vertical jumps have been suspended. And now we see the entire program so far suspended. What happens now? If the rain clears up, the athletes go back and they compete tonight still?
That's correct. They will then resume the program from where it stopped. If the weather does not clear up, then they will have to take a decision to then postpone it to the next day.
Now surely, and the world of athletics rules can be a little bit cruel, but surely, if you are one of the individuals who's been running in this hurdles, 110 hurdles
Yes.
heats this evening. We already saw the athlete from Jamaica disconsolate because he dropped out with massive pools on the track. Surely if you're suspending the program, is there no ways that you can come back and restart the program?
Absolutely not. Unfortunately not. It is just bad luck for those athletes that, you know, ran in the heats prior to the suspension of the program. But I think what they need to do, or they probably will do it now, is just to sweep the track, because it's just surface water. If they sweep the track, then the hurdles can continue. I'm not too sure about the vertical jumps and the throws, but the hurdles and the 400 meter and the 800 can continue. They just need to sweep it. In 2005, like the commentators have mentioned, we had that when we were at the World Championships in Helsinki. It was bucketing down from day one until the very last day. And all the officials did, after a heat, they would come with the big brooms and sweep the track, sweep all the surface water off.
So we need 8 massive brooms and a relay team to make sure that we can sweep that track lead.
Yeah.
Of course, in the picture there now are the women competing in the discus qualifiers. That got the program underway before the men's pole vaulters came out to get the finals underway. We saw, just as the rain started pelting down, immediately it had an impact on the discus, because we saw 3 false throws in a row.
Yeah.
And the call came through. That's it. We're suspending it.
It's also unsafe for the athletes, and you know what? The discus is slippery, so that's why they had no throws. And it's not very nice. You have to psych yourself up all over again. You have to go through the whole routine of getting yourself mentally ready for your event, and now you have to take a little bit of a break.
I mean, Chad Leclerc would look at that and say, there's my gold medal in the offing. Goodness, so much water on the track at the moment. It is nigh impossible to do a flat sprint on that track, let alone something as technical as hurdles.
Yeah, no. It's a good thing it didn't rain last night, because that could have impacted the outcome of the 100 meters as well as the 400 meters. But yes, it is very challenging to run hurdles in that kind of
So let's say the
conditions.
cruelty of the way that, and I call it cruelty, of the way that the rules of athletics works, perhaps counting in South Africa's favour that Antonio Alcano is set to go off in heat number 4 of the men's 110-meter hurdles, has not gone off yet. We will keep you posted. We'll take you back to the live pictures where the track is turning into a pool, but so much action still to come this evening. I suppose, given the climate of Brazil, it's not going to rain for the entire program. But maybe today is that day, the heavens opening up after South Africa's gold medal last night. Who knows? Whatever the case may be, if there is athletics from the evening session, we will take you there, but plenty more action to come after the break.
The SABC has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that's fair,